Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with Mob Psycho 100. Last time around we had urban legends encountering rumors, where the boys became rangers of these urban legends. The urban rangers, you could say. Anyway, but yeah, they were going after a bunch of urban legends, and they did find one, the Dragger, who was basically an evil spirit created from the fear generated on social media. So, and she couldn't be stopped by anyone who feared her. Luckily, Mob did not fear her and completely destroyed her. There was also another psychic there who was pretty interesting. And then they also dealt with Dash Granny, which was not an evil spirit or anything, but just a grandmother who really liked to run. But that was the thing that Mob feared, because he was not faster than the running grandmother. So yeah, there's a pretty good episode, pretty fun, and I'm excited to see where we're going this time. Yeah. Like always, the reaction is down in the description and in the pinned comment for your viewing pleasure, so let's go ahead and jump right into this episode of Mob Psycho 100. Here we go. Whew. That was a little heavy, but that was interesting, you know? It kind of reminds me of, in Demon Slayer, the whole thing with Nezuko, the whole thing is that, Nezuko won't hurt a human, but if she ever does, you have to put her down and then put yourself down, basically. And it is kind of like, it's an interesting thing here. You could almost say, I'm sure there's stuff with, superheroes, superhero stories that have something like this, Superman, If Superman turns evil, who stops Superman, They've had whole stories about that, but that is a good point. If Mob lost his way, who would stop him, But that also does sort of build on... last season, where he did start to lose his way. Not that he wanted to, eradicate all humans or something, but, he was using his powers to fight people, and he was going to, he was, rationalizing it in his head, if I'm going to save, the Ritsu and Reagan and Teruki and everyone, then I'm going to have to fight them. And it was Reagan who was able to, snap him out of that, but can Reagan always do that, Will Reagan always be there to do that? We don't know. So yeah, it's a very interesting thing, And because, there's the whole thing of, the whole part with the bullies, where, there was the whole part with the bullies where, Dimple did something, and then Ritsu did something, then the Body Improvement Club came in and started doing something, and through all of it, Mob was like, well, no, you don't need to do this, I'm fine, you don't need to fight or anything, and they're like, dude, you gotta stand up for yourself, you gotta, if somebody's pushing you, you push back, but that's just such a dangerous thing when it comes to him, Pushing back is dangerous because he can push back harder than almost anyone on Earth, And here it was the same way, he saw those spirits and was like, no, they're a peaceful family. And he didn't actually want to hurt those kids, but he was getting angry, He was getting emotional because those kids were pressuring him into just exercising this peaceful family. So he just couldn't do it, He just couldn't do it. And luckily, again, like in season 1, Reagan was able to step in and deal with it, Just chuck some salt at them and it's alright, that's the exorcism. So, and even he's not fully I mean, he's not comfortable with how he had to handle that, but at the same time, what matters to him first is Mob, you know? Like, even in a sort of conflict like that, like, you know, okay, so Mob's having these problems, but the client always comes first. You know, the customer is always right. But, you know, when push comes to shove, literally, it is Mob. It is Mob above the others. And that was the thing. And he was fully prepared to just be like, okay, well, no exorcism. Let's go back, and, you know, that'll be that. You guys don't have to pay because we didn't do anything, you know? But in order to get those kids off of their case, he had to do something, so he just, you know, chucked some salt at them, you know? Which, again, is interesting to think about, you know... It's interesting to think about, like, what is a scam and what is not. Like, to me, this makes it seem like everything Reagan does, he does believe is legitimate, you know? Like, when he gives those dumb massages or something, like, he legitimately believes that he's doing something with that, you know? And to an extent, I guess he is, you know, sometimes when he does, like, you know, that spirit massage to exorcise a spirit, you know? He did still give them a massage, therefore, he provided a service that was beneficial to the customer, and so he could accept the money, you know? Whereas here, you know, he just threw some salt at them and called it a day, you know? Like, that wasn't up to what he normally does, but he had to do something. He had to do something because he could not continue what he was supposed to do, basically. And it's an interesting thing because this also builds on episode 1 from this season, where, you know, Mob is starting to express more of his feelings, which, again, you know, just seeing at the end of every episode that meter building up again is that, yeah, it's still dangerous, but he is starting to express himself, you know. It's baby steps. It's baby steps to getting to Mob being able to express his feelings like anybody else, you know? It's definitely baby steps to get to that, but in that one, you know, he's starting to express more of his feelings, and here, he's starting to question things, you know? Like, the whole thing with the curse, it's like, oh, was that really a good idea that you gave him that? And Reagan's like, it's weird, you don't normally say anything like this. And then with the stalker person, it's like, oh, I don't understand why she's not scared of him now that she knows, like, her entire attitude has changed now that she knows it's a human and not a spirit, you know? And it's like, well, that's interesting. That's interesting that he brings this up, that he questions that, but he does, because his emotions are running, his emotions in general, his emotional meter is running. But at the same time, he's just starting to question more things because he's being more expressive because of what happened in episode 1, you know? So yeah, and it all kind of came to a head here, where he just could not bring himself to exorcise those spirits because to him, they were innocent, you know? And to him, those kids were the bastards trying to exorcise this innocent, you know, family. So, and I also like Dimple, like, going and making sure, like, that's sort of the make sure, you know, because at first I was like, wait, is he just gonna do it and force Mob to do it? It's like, no, he's getting, like, definitive proof that, whether or not they are evil, and so he provokes the father, but the father, he doesn't go through with it. And it's like, okay, then he is legitimately a good spirit, you know? If he had attacked, then Mob would have been like, well, I'm sorry, but I have to do this, you know? But there, it's like, okay, then this has to end somehow, and Reagan did end it. So that was good, you know? Now, it's interesting, I will say also that, so Reagan can see Dimple because of the sort of remnants of Mob's power that he used in season 1. But can he not see, like, most other spirits or something? Or I guess because he did say that the family must be, like, really low level and therefore he can't see it. But is that legit? Is that legitimately what it is, you know? I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the technicalities of what Reagan can and can't see, you know? So yeah. But yeah, that was a really good episode. And again, just, like, it really just shows, and especially just because, like, you know, last episode was kind of a goofier episode. But building on episode 1 of, you know, Mob starting to let his emotions come through a bit, but at the same time that does bring the risk of his emotional meter, you know? So that is rising at the same time. So yeah, it's definitely an interesting thing, and I'm curious to see how it basically progresses throughout the season. So, but yeah, good stuff. I'm excited to see where we are going next time. But that is basically it. With all that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist for all of my Mob Psycho 100 reactions, as well as another video you can go click on if you want. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.